Good morning, sausages. What have we here? Death or dinner? It's death. This is the Foxglove. It contains a poison called digitalis, a sort of digitoxin, which will kill you. It will stop your heart. However, it's not all bad news because digitalis can also be used in medicine for lots of different heart conditions. So you've sort of redeemed yourself a little bit. So is this plant a complete bastard? Well, of course it is, because its parents weren't married. Actually, no plant's parents are married, and no animal's parents are married, so they're all a load of bastards. Digitalis is the poison used in Casino Royale to try and kill James Bond. As I'm so fond of saying, if it can kill James Bond, it can kill you. So whatever you do, don't eat this thing. You don't really want to touch it. Just enjoy it. It is actually a very beautiful plant. In folklore, you'll never guess, it was used to ward off evil. Literally every goddamn plant wards off evil. However, it was also associated with bad omens and danger and doom. So there must have been groups of people who argued with each other all day down the pub about which plant did what and whether it was good for you or not. In this case, you're a bit of a mixed bag. So because they look like bells, apparently in folklore, if you ring the bells, basically the fairies will come. Actually, if you eat this thing, the only bell you want to ring is your phone, and you want a bloody ambulance to come. Also, apparently, foxes would put these on their paws to keep the morning dew off them. This is, of course, absolute rubbish. No plant has been used for fox clothing, and foxes do not wear clothes. Don't believe everything you read. And I'm going to leave it there because I'm being beset by mosquitoes. I feel like I've lost so much blood, it's like getting a blowjob from a vampire. I feel like I've just walked out of a blood donation clinic. So before I collapse from acute blood loss and anemia, I shall say goodbye. Have a wonderful day.
July is a good time to sow your foxgloves. Here's a foxglove I had from last year. If you sow them now, they'll flower for you next year. Okay, first of all, make sure you have a small little tray, pre-water it well. And the thing is, you normally find with the foxglove seeds, they are so small and they're really quite tricky to handle. So I'll show you some of my seeds I had from my harvest this year. So you can see them. I put them on a white little envelope so I can see them. And what we'll do, you've got your tray watered really well, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to slowly tap it like so. So eventually you just get the seed just falling on top of the tray, on top of the compost. Be really gentle with it, because the thing is, they're literally minute, so you can't really handle them with your fingers, but you can just tap them, or something you can put them on your hand and tap them like so. And then what we'll tend to do, we'll tend to just use a little tamper, and I'll show you how to do that after your seeds are in the compost. So the thing is, I'm just going to use a tamper, just put a little bit of pressure. So the thing is, what you want the seeds to have really good contact with the compost, but very light tap. And the thing is, what we're going to do after this, we're just going to water well again, add a little bit of water, make sure you don't really drown the seeds. So I just use a little light watering can. And then what we'll do, I'm just going to use a little baby propagator, and I'm going to put the lid on top of this like so, and I'm going to put the little propagator in kind of bright area away from direct sunlight, because the thing is, if you put it in direct sunlight, it's really hot and the seeds just get too hot and sometimes they don't germinate. So the thing is, I'll show you what I've got now. A little seed tray I did about 2 weeks ago, and exactly the same technique. And there you go, baby foxgloves. So your little foxgloves are here. So the things I've said, they're biannuals, so they'll grow now. You're going to have to put them in a cold frame or keep them quite safe through the whole winter, and they'll flower for you next year. Your foxgloves should be as good as gold. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Feel free to share and like and tell your friends. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Here's how to collect seeds from foxgloves. Once the beautiful flowers have died back, they will start to go dry and look like this. This is when you know that they are ready to harvest. So I'm just going to get a container and I'm going to tip the seeds straight into it. As you can see, they're really easy to come out and you get thousands per stem. This was my first year growing them and I can't wait to carry on next year. You can also just shake the seeds onto the ground as they're self-propagating, and they will just start to appear next year. Now that I've finished with the seeds, I'm going to cut all the stems back so that the new growth can carry on. Follow along for more.
In the vibrant springtime, this plant with its towering flower spikes becomes the focal point of the garden. It's the beloved foxglove. We typically sow its seeds in the autumn as it has a relatively long growing period. Planting is usually done from September to October, and then it's transferred to the ground in November or December. This way, it will have a larger crown size. By the following March or April, it will produce beautiful flower spikes. Foxglove seedlings don't require any special protection, and they can withstand temperatures as low as -4 degrees Fahrenheit during the winter. Foxglove seeds are quite small, so it's advisable not to sow them too densely. Get ready to start planting.
Okay, here's what you need to know about foxgloves. I have been harvesting them for about a month. These little short ones are the last of the season. After you cut the big tall ones, sometimes they'll shoot up a second little one. So that's what these are. But then after that, they start dropping their petals, and they're not as good. So I had like a couple of different ways that I grew them. This area right here is where I actually had them more like a crop. You know, there was a row of them. And honestly, the quality of the flowers were so much better when it was in more of a controlled environment like this. When I do it again in the future, I think that I might try this. But, you know, foxgloves are biannuals, which means you plant the seed. That first year, it's just the greenery, and the second year is when it flowers. So you kind of have to plan ahead. So it's like every other year you get flowers, and so this was like a big year for foxglove for me. Last year, not as much. But look at those. Look how tall and beautiful they are. So like that was really, I think, my best harvest. I was happy about it. This is an example of the other way that I grow the foxglove, which is in my perennial bed. I'm going for the cottage core vibe, and what I do is that I let a bunch of foxglove go to seed, and then I just walk around and shake the seeds around and let it grow where it wants to grow. And they're beautiful and great, and I've harvested a bunch from them, but they are not, I don't know, they're a little bit more wild looking. But look at how gorgeous. That's also a really good harvest. I don't know, maybe that one was, you tell me, which one do you like better? The more controlled uniform, or like the wild looking ones?
It's wild that anyone can just walk in Walmart and buy a deadly plant.
This innocent looking plant in my mum's garden is one of the most toxic plants on earth. This is foxglove. And the cardiac glycosides in this means that if you eat enough of this plant, it will slow your heart down to the point that it will stop. Of course, humans have exploited this medicinal property. Creating a medication called digoxin is used in hospitals to lower heart rate in patients who have low blood pressure, so can't use typical heart slower medication. So the question is, what is my mum doing with this plant?
This is the end of my digitalis, otherwise known as foxgloves, and as you can see, they are well and truly over. But one thing about foxgloves is they spread rapidly, which is something you may or may not like. I love it if you can control them. So what I'm going to do is wait for the seed pods to go really brown and crispy so that all of the seeds inside are ready for spreading. And inside, as you can see, there are lots of minute little seeds ready to be sown all around. And I just like to sprinkle them like this.